The Shiromani Akali Dal has exited the NDA alliance. Now, is this a good news for the BJP or a bad news? The critics of the farm bills are saying that this is a huge dent for the BJP, which has lost its long-term ally, the Shiromani Akali Dal. Mind you, the Shiromani Akali Dal has been with the BJP and the predecessor of the BJP, even when BJP had nothing but 2 seats in the parliament. And today, the Shiromani Akali Dal has walked out of that alliance. In the center, electorally, it won't make a huge difference. The Shiromani Akali Dal has just 2 seats. One was by Sukhbir Badal, the other one was for Sukhbir Badal. So electorally, it doesn't make a huge difference. What does it mean in the state assembly elections? I'll come to that in a bit. But is the exit of the Shiromani Akali Dal a problem for the BJP or a potential opportunity in the state and the center? That is the one question we look to address today. Now, I'll take up 3 aspects. I'll go back in time and discuss some of the actions of the Akalis. I'll look at the consequences of those actions in retrospect and the consequences of these consequences in contemporary politics in today's time. Now, if you go back to the tenure between 2007 and 2017 of the Shiromani Akali Dal and the BJP government in Punjab, it was plagued with corruption. In fact, even today, the people of Punjab look at the 2 tenures of the Shiromani Akali government, which was where the BJP played a second fiddle. The BJP has always been a mere shadow of the Shiromani Akali Dal in Punjab. It was plagued with corruption. Now, I can talk to you about drugs. I can talk to you about the stakes the Badal family has in all the businesses, be it stone crushing, be it media, be it hospitality. But I look at 3 aspects to give you an idea about the rampant corruption that was there under the Akali's government. Now, to give you an example, in Punjab, very ironically, given it's a very state where the tourism is very flourishing, at least the religious tourism, because of the Golden Temple in Amritsar, the Anandpur Sahib, and a lot of other places, there is a very weak rail connectivity. Even today, if you have to travel in Punjab, you might as well travel through buses and not through the trains, that is. And that is for one simple reason: the Akalis never allowed the railway connectivity to flourish. And it's not like the state-run buses are actually excelling in Punjab. Between 2001 and 2015-16, 2015-16 was almost the dusk of the Akali government. 2017, they got voted out. The number of state-run buses came down by half. It was reduced by 50%. But the Badal family actually bought out stakes in a lot of private transport companies, many of them running on very profitable routes, say the Delhi-Amritsar route, or any route going from Delhi via the GT road to Punjab. Interestingly, the motor vehicle tax on the ordinary buses in Punjab, when the Akalis came in 2007, it was reduced by 25 paise to rupees 2.25 per kilometer. Now, these ordinary buses have very less ticket prices, so the tax was 2.25 per kilometer under the motor vehicle tax. Interestingly, the luxury buses, which had double the ticket prices at that time in 2007, what was the tax for them? It was brought down by rupees 7 to a mere 50 paisa per kilometer. So to give you a comparison, the ordinary buses had a tax of 2.25 rupees per kilometer. The luxury buses had 50 paisa per kilometer as their taxes, with a lot of other facilities. They were given extra time to pay their taxes and so on. Why was this done to luxurious buses? Because the Badals owned a stake in it. That's one example. And eventually the luxury businesses, the buses flourished, the travel agencies flourished, and of course, the state-run buses took a back seat. Another example is the Vigilance Bureau under the Amrinder Singh government in 2003 filed a case against the Badal family about disproportionate assets worth rupees 2,300 crore. By the time that case went to the court, the challans became worth rupees 73 crores. So from 2,300 crore that were filed, the court saw a case worth 73 crore rupees. When it came about the witnesses, 137 witnesses turned hostile in 2010. 137 witnesses turned hostile and the case was forgotten. Not just that, the Akalis today have a stake in every major business in Punjab, be it a restaurant running on the highway, be it a media company, the PTC Punjabi that is, and the Akali government has been very vocal about it. The Sukhbir Singh Badal, Harsimrat Kaur Badal, they have been very vocal about it. In fact, when they filed the nominations. The assets have also grown tenfold between 2004 and 2014. So the stake in these businesses also reflects in the nominations. Now, what has happened as a consequence? The people of Punjab have responded electorally. Now, to give you an example, in 2014, in 2009, just when the Akalis were settling into the first tenure, in 2009, in the 2009 elections, the national elections, the Akalis won 4 seats and a 33.8.5% vote share in Punjab. By 2014, the Akalis again won 4 seats in Punjab, but the vote share had come down to 20.3%, from 33.85% to 20.3% in mere 5 years. In 2019, they did a little better. The vote share increased to 27.45%, but the seats were just 2. So the people of Punjab have also been responding electorally to the Akali government. They have been very vocal against their corruption, against the kind of corruption that has been going on. Not just that, Harsimrat Kaur Badal, in 2009, she won the Bathinda seat by 121,000 votes. In 2014, this margin came down to 19,000 votes. In 2019, it was also 20,000 votes. So it's not like Harsimrat Kaur Badal won the seat very comfortably. She had to really work hard in her own constituency. Whereas Sukhbir Badal, Praneet Kaur, the wife of Captain Amrinder Singh, they won the seats relatively with greater comfort. But even then, the Akalis are now beginning to lose their strongholds as well. That is the consequences of the rampant corruption. Now, what are the repercussions of it? Well, for one, when I was touring Punjab in the 2019 ground coverage of a Swarajya election coverage, the one question I was asked by everyone, that where was the BJP faces? We had just seen 3 BJP seats. The seat sharing arrangement was such that BJP was to fight on 3 seats. The Akalis were to fight on 10 seats. Everyone had that one simple question, because there was a lot of popularity of Narendra Modi, of course. But there was this one question, that why aren't we seeing more of BJP on the ground? Because mind you, Punjab has a 40% Hindu population. And right now that Hindu population is skewed towards the Congress, which votes for Amrinder Singh. So that's one aspect. So everyone had this question, that where is the BJP? Why can't we look beyond the captain and the Akalis and vote for the BJP? Because Aam Aadmi Party had reduced itself to a laughing stock by them. Even though they gathered a very respectable share in the 2017 elections, they had become a laughing stock by 2019 due to their own mistakes. But that's a debate for a separate video. So one thing that happens now, BJP gets an opportunity to build its ground network in Punjab. Of course, the time is not enough for them to go and win the 2022 elections in the state. But of course, as it happens in politics, one can expect a post-poll alliance between the Shiromani Akali Dal and the BJP that may happen. But it's not about 2022 alone. Let's go to 2024 now. The national elections, again, 13 seats will be in contest. The Akalis would also have retired Prakash Singh Badal by then. The age would have taken its toll. Captain Amrinder Singh has also hinted that this will be his last tenure as a CM. So when I talk about the larger picture, say 2027 state elections in Punjab or 2024 national elections in Punjab, the BJP has some homework to do. It has a lot of groundwork to do. And without the baggage of Akalis, the corruption baggage that the Akalis bring with them, the BJP will be in a far better position to build that network on the ground. Will that network creation be easy? Of course, it won't be easy, because BJP very regularly has put faces that have not been very active on the ground. Take the example of Sunny Deol, or even in Chandigarh, which resonates with Punjab more than Haryana when it comes to voting. Though Chandigarh does not vote with Punjab state elections or Haryana state elections, but the resonance is still there every time there is a national election. Even in Chandigarh, they have put Kiran Kher. In Punjab, they have put Sunny Deol, responsible of a very important constituency in Gurdaspur, where the Kartarpur corridor is also there. But these faces have been largely missing on the ground, and the people would want to see some faces on the ground. Of course, the alliance with the Shiromani Akali Dal for the BJP was very different from that to Shiv Sena. When it comes to Shiv Sena alliance in Maharashtra, you had some credible faces. You had Fadnavis, you had many other people, you had a BJP CM. But in Punjab, there is things very different, and BJP literally needs to start from zero. But without the Akali baggage, at least they won't be starting in negative. So, is the Akali walking out of the NDA a good thing? Well, for one, I have said this before, this might be an internal good cop, bad cop arrangement where the Akalis are playing the good cop. They're standing with the farmers ahead of the 2022 elections, and the BJP is playing the bad cop. But if really the Akalis have walked out of the alliance, which is not possible given the Akalis also need to do a lot of homework to stand alone in Punjab in 2022, the BJP should cash in on this opportunity, build a solid ground network, not just for 2022, but for the long term, for 2024, for 2027. And that is what the BJP should be looking at. Also, talking about the farm bills, to conclude, I've done a video very recently with my co-worker Anushka discussing why only the farmers in Punjab are making such a huge issue about the farm bills. Unlike other parts of India, I'll put that video in the description. You can surely watch that. But for now, it's a good riddance for the BJP. They should cash in on this opportunity and get themselves rid of this Akali corruption baggage that was tagging with them for so long. This is a new beginning for the BJP in Punjab, and they will make the best use of it. One can only hope. Thank you.